Welcome to my YouTube channel Wise Whispers, where silence speaks. The day my son got married, I stood quietly in the back of the church, smiling as everyone celebrated, but inside my heart I carried a secret that no one there knew. My name is Victoria, and I am 64 years old. The truth is, just a few months before my son's wedding, my beloved wife passed away and left me an inheritance of $14 million. It was a life-changing amount of money. But instead of telling my son and his new wife about it, I chose to keep it hidden. And that decision would change everything that followed. My wife Elena had always been a wise and thoughtful woman. Before she died, she held my hand in the hospital and said something I would never forget. "Victoria," she whispered softly, "money shows people's true hearts. Promise me you will use it wisely." I promised her. At that moment I realized that wealth can sometimes bring out greed in people. I loved my son deeply, but I also knew that life had been difficult for him. He struggled with debts and often looked for quick solutions instead of working patiently. So when he introduced me to his fiancée, Melissa, I watched carefully. Melissa was charming, polite, and always smiling, but there was something about the way she talked about money that made me uneasy. During family dinners, she would casually ask questions like, "Victoria, your house must be worth a lot now," or "Have you ever thought about selling some property?" They seemed like harmless questions, but they stayed in my mind. When their wedding day arrived, I gave them a modest gift and wished them happiness. They believed I was just an ordinary retired woman living on savings. And I let them believe that. For the first few months after the wedding, things were peaceful. They visited me often and we shared meals together, but slowly their attitude began to change. One evening, my son sat across from me at the dinner table and sighed heavily. "Mom," he said, "things are really tight right now. Melissa and I are thinking about buying a bigger house, but the bank wants a large down payment." Melissa quickly added, "Even a small loan from family could really help us." I smiled gently and said, "I wish I could help more, but my retirement funds are limited." They looked disappointed, but they nodded politely. Over the next year, their visits became less frequent. When they did come, the conversations almost always returned to money. "Mom, maybe you could sell your house and move somewhere smaller," my son suggested once. "You could give us some of the money to help us start our life." His words hurt me more than he realized. That house was filled with memories of Elena, her laughter, her cooking, the way she decorated every room with love. Selling it would feel like losing her all over again. But I stayed calm and simply said, "This house is my home." After that, something changed. The warmth in their voices faded. Phone calls became rare. Sometimes months passed without hearing from them. At first, the silence broke my heart. I wondered if hiding the truth had been a mistake. But then something unexpected happened. One rainy afternoon, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, my son was standing there alone. He looked tired and older than I remembered. "Mom," he said quietly, "can I come in?" We sat in the living room, the same room where he had played as a child. For a long moment he said nothing, then his eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered. He explained that his marriage was struggling. The constant stress about money had created arguments between him and Melissa. He realized that he had been focusing too much on wealth and not enough on the people who truly loved him. "I forgot what really matters," he said, "and I hurt you." His words were sincere. For the first time in a long time, I saw the little boy I had raised. I placed my hand on his shoulder. "Son," I said softly, "love and family are worth more than any amount of money." Then I told him the truth. I explained about Elena's inheritance. I told him that I had received $14 million after her passing, and that I had kept it secret to understand people's true intentions. My son stared at me in complete shock. "All this time," he said slowly. "Yes," I replied, "but the money was never meant to test you. It was meant to protect our family from becoming divided by greed." Tears rolled down his face again. I wish I had behaved differently. I smiled gently. "It's not too late." Over the next few months, our relationship slowly healed. My son began visiting regularly, not to talk about money but to spend time together. We cooked dinner, watched old movies, and shared memories of Elena. Eventually, I decided to help him, but in a way that would teach responsibility. Instead of giving him a large amount of money, I helped him pay off his debts and supported him in starting a small business he had always dreamed about. He worked hard, and for the first time in years, he felt proud of what he earned. As for the rest of the inheritance, I created a charitable foundation in Alina's name to help families in need. Because that's what she would have wanted. Today, when I sit on the porch of my old house watching the sunset, I often think about the lesson life taught me. Money can change circumstances, but it should never change hearts. And sometimes the greatest gift we can give our children is not wealth, but wisdom. Moral of the story: true family love is not measured by money or inheritance. When people value relationships over wealth, happiness and respect naturally follow.